Hey everyone, First Order here, and today we'll be breaking down the best Interceptor class for Star Wars Squadrons and going over some basic tips and tricks on how to use the class better. So, if you're new to this channel, subscribe. It only takes about 5 seconds of your time, and be sure to like it while you're there. It really will help me out in the long run and will extremely help this video get seen by more people, which I want to help others who play Star Wars Squadrons since really the player base is not that big. Anyway, I have about 16-ish hours of gameplay with Star Wars Squadrons, and my most used class is the Interceptor, so I know a lot about this class. So, let's jump into what components we'll be equipping on our A-Wing and TIE Interceptor today. Firstly, we'll be equipping the rapid-fire cannons. For each component class, I would recommend either 1 or 2 to give you a little bit of variety, but of course all this is your personal choice. I am just telling you what I have found to be the best class setup for the Interceptor, but if you have a personal favorite thing you like that I don't use, go ahead and use that. It's all up to you, but I am just giving you a suggestion for each if you're still on the fence of which one to choose for each component slot. The other laser I suggest is the standard laser cannons. The ion shot is a terrible attachment to put on the Interceptor because it decreases your damage, which the Interceptor does not do a lot of in the first place, so really the ion cannon, just ignore that. And the fourth one is extremely weak. I've tried it once or twice in a match, the TIE Interceptor. It basically allows you to fire all your lasers at once. Like, remember in Battlefront 2, you had the X-Wing where you had both bumpers and you fired all your cannons at once? It's basically that, except a lot weaker. The rate of fire is crap, it's tap and you fire, or you can hold it down and charge your shot. It's a very high-risk, low-reward laser that I strongly suggest you just stay away from. It just doesn't really work for the Interceptor class. Now, comparing the rapid fire and standard cannons, we can see some differences, and whichever one you choose will depend on your playstyle. The rapid fire cannons will do more damage per second and has twice the fire rate compared to the standard lasers, while the standard lasers have a faster recharge rate, twice the ammo capacity, and a longer range. So there are a lot of trade-offs with these two, with picking the rapid fire cannons, but honestly, it just depends what game mode you're playing and what your type of gameplay style is. I love speed and like getting in there, getting a kill, and like kind of hiding and recharging everything. I've always been like that. I rush pretty much in every shooter game, and I even rush in Star Wars Squadrons. So I'm not expecting to be alive for that long. I'm just getting in there and killing as much as possible and getting out of there quickly. So I use the rapid fire cannon, but I can't deny the standard cannons do have a lot of bonuses compared to the rapid fire, like having twice the ammo capacity. You run out of ammo very quickly with the rapid fire cannon, so for the most part I always have the A-Wing or TIE Interceptor equipped to having my power set to the weapons, so I get more out of my weapons. But yeah, a lot of trade-offs. It's honestly your choice if you want a further range, more ammo, or you want a faster fire rate and deal more damage per second. Your choice. Now for the left auxiliary, I chose the repair kit. Very basic, repairs your starfighter, and is probably the most useful one out of any of these choices. Without this, you will die very quickly in this game. If you crash into something, it's not like Battlefront 2 where you die immediately, you just get hit. Your health may go down half, or depending on how quickly you hit it, you may go down like 10 health. So, use your repair kit, or if you get into a 1v1 with an X-Wing or TIE fighter, and you win, health will probably be around 43 or like 30, depending on how long the fight went on. So if you just use a repair kit, it will save your life. Honestly, the most basic choice and probably a crunch attachment that will be used on almost all of your classes in the first place. Without this, I feel hopeless with the Interceptor, especially since the Interceptor class has the weakest health out of any starfighter. And for the right auxiliary, I personally chose the quick lock-on missile, another default option. This missile is just a basic all-around great missile. I haven't had much luck with the other ones. There's one that has 40 ammo capacity, but it's not a lock-on. It's basically you fire it and it does 100 damage. You just fire it without a lock-on. Even for damage-wise, that missile only has 100 compared to this one, which is 375. So personally, for me, I would just choose the quick lock-on missile. I haven't had much luck with the other ones, so the right one, I would just choose whichever missile option you feel most comfortable with. But for me, the quick lock-on missile does the job. I don't want to confine you to doing exactly what I do, so honestly, the left one, choose a repair kit that will save your life. In the right slot, choose whatever missile you feel works best with your playstyle. Now for countermeasures, same thing, it's honestly what you feel most comfortable with. I like turning the enemy's missile on them, because you can only activate this once the missile is very close to you. So I chose the sensor inverter. Once I saw this attachment be used in the Star Wars Squadrons Hunted trailer, I just needed to use this in the game, and it's honestly so much fun. I haven't gotten a kill with it yet, but I'm just hoping one day I will. But if you want flares, which is like the default attachment, that one's also solid, or the lock-on jammer. I either use the sensor inverter or the lock-on jammer. All of these have its time to shine. I personally just like turning the enemy's missile against them. Now we start getting into the health and speed components. For the hull, I chose the dampener hull, which increases the lock-on time for enemies by 100% while decreasing your health by 10%. I recommend either this one or the default hull. The Interceptor class already has the weakest health out of all the starfighters, so decreasing your health again by 10% may be too much. The health goes from 500 to 450, however our next components, in my opinion, compensates for that. Now here the shield, which sadly can only be used for the A-Wing because the Empire decided to mass produce all of their equipment except for the TIE Reaper, so the Bomber, Interceptor, and Fighter do not have shields, so I'll be purely talking about the A-Wing right now. For shields, I chose the Nimble Deflector. This decreases the max shields by 30%, however, it increases the shield regenerative rate by 100%, which works great in dogfights. This is not good against capital ships. You will get absolutely destroyed by Star Destroyers. I don't even recommend making attacks on capital ships with interceptors just due to how low their health is, but this component is mostly used for hit and run tactics, so going up against light cruisers and starfighters may be your only option really. When I use this attachment and play fleet battles, when we're going to attack either the Nebulon B frigates or the Imperial light cruisers, I basically go make strafing runs across the map between the two light cruisers. Fire my blasters, fire a missile, do a turn around the cruiser, and then attack the other one, back and forth, back and forth. That's basically what I do, because if you sit there and just like stop your speed and just fire at it, you will get destroyed. And of course, this attachment only applies to the A-Wing. And lastly, the engine. I recommend using the micro thrust engine, which decreases your max speed and acceleration by 30%, however, it increases your maneuverability by 30%. Now, that does sound bad in retrospect, but with the game mechanics, it's actually a fair trade-off. For the Interceptor, the A-Wing and TIE Interceptor are already the fastest starfighters in the game, so decreasing that isn't so bad. With this attachment, the default X-Wing with no engine attachment is faster than. However, you can quickly turn your starfighter, aka your maneuverability can make or break your life. Turning quickly is much more important than how fast you can go. In a 1v1 dogfight, it can win you the fight easily if you hit all of your shots because of how fast you can turn your Interceptor. Honestly, how quick you can turn your starfighter is honestly one of the best, most important things in this game, just because if you add an attachment that decreases your maneuverability, it's extremely noticeable. You move so slow. I've done this in the campaign and I was honestly confused what I was doing wrong, and then I realized I lowered my maneuverability with certain attachments, and it's such a pain. If someone has this and you don't, they can easily just speed past you, turn around as fast as possible while you're still turning around slowly, and they can get shots on you very quickly. The maneuverability is extremely important for the Interceptor class just because of how low your health is and how much damage you can do. So, get in there, do your shots, run. Again, this class just all around is made for a hit and run A-Wing or TIE Interceptor. Stay away from capital ships and just do your job as the Interceptor class. Now just for some generic tips for the Interceptors, these things again aren't really made for attacking capital ships. Sort of like cruisers, but not really. I would use a fighter or a bomber for that. So mainly I use this class in dogfights. I have not played a dogfight match without playing as an Interceptor. This thing absolutely destroys. My first match, I went like 12-4 using the TIE Interceptor. This thing is insane. Again, I mainly use this in dogfights or whenever I am defending in fleet battles, or the beginning portion of it. So like when the fleet battles begins, I use an Interceptor, or if we get pushed back to defend my capital ship or light cruisers, I use the Interceptor class to destroy their fighters. With the rapid fire attachment, usually I set my Interceptor power levels to weapons a lot more than I should, because with the rapid fire cannon, you're not gonna have as much ammo available and it takes twice as long to recharge. So for the most part, whenever I engage a starfighter, I always set my power levels to weapons to attack, or to shields, depending on what's happening and if I'm losing the dogfight. With this setup, I turn the A-Wing and TIE Interceptor into a hit-and-run starfighter with extreme react times. This thing can go up against basically any type of starfighter you throw at it. TIE Fighter, TIE Bombers, U-Wings, TIE Reapers, literally anything. However, if you try to make a strafing run against the Star Destroyer, you will get obliterated due to its low health. So stay away from capital ships and prioritize your fire on enemy TIEs or X-Wings. And yeah, that is my setup for the Interceptor class for Star Wars Squadrons. It is my favorite class. I always loved the A-Wing and TIE Interceptor in Battlefront 2, so whenever I unlocked these starfighters in the campaign, I immediately picked these, and in multiplayer, the first couple matches I picked, I only played as an Interceptor. I love these ships, and honestly, I haven't gotten bored with them. And I've been grinding up to get an Ewok bobblehead in my A-Wing. I want it badly, but here we are now, at the end of this video. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you've made it this far into the video, be sure to subscribe, like, all that good stuff. If this video does well enough, I'll be making a class setup on the fighter class, the X-Wing or TIE Fighter, and if that does well, possibly the Bomber. I hate the support ship. It needs a buff so badly, so I've barely played as that. Honestly, I've only used the support ships to complete challenges. But if these do well, I will do that one as well. Anyway, see you guys in the next video. Hope you all are enjoying Star Wars Squadrons as much as I am. This is the First Order, signing out.